Oh man, I haven't done this on a Friday night in a long, long time, bro. It's been a while. What's going on, everybody? 101 on Arsenal Friday night Premier League show. Today, we're going to give our Premier League team of the season. And I just want wow, there's a lot going on because I haven't done this show in a while. The settings are going all over the place. But yeah, I just want to, before I welcome Neil, say that it's been difficult to keep the show going for the Premier League because my health over Christmas, as you guys already know, for 3 months I was just in a really bad state with my lungs, and then Tony has taken up another thing on a Friday night, which he's doing. So it just really means that there's nobody around to host the show. So that's the long and short of it. As my health has got better, though, I've been trying to step up the content on the channel. So don't worry, guys. Got you covered. And Neil, how are you, man? Looking wise, looking full of spirit. Liverpool season. We're going to get all of the breakdown from you. How are you doing, Neil?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. As I said to you, I mean, the last time we were kind of like online, I was talking about the operation I had in my eye and stuff. So
I remember,
um,
yeah.
I've healed kind of well. It's gone according to the way it should go. I just need to get new glasses now. That's all I need to do. So I'm
Yeah,
good, man. I'm
yeah.
doing good. I'm doing good.
So glasses is obviously because of my age. Glasses is something that I've just got into as well, and it's a strange thing, you know. The thing about glasses is, the more you wear them, the more you need them because your eyes get adjusted and used to the new level of high definition, which has gone out of your eyesight. But the worst thing is if you don't use them, then your eyes you're still able to manage to see out of your eyes with the issues that you normally have. But when you start wearing
You can see,
glasses,
but
yeah, when you start wearing glasses, those issues with your normal eyesight starts to get much worse, man.
yeah. Well, I've been wearing glasses since I was 13, mate.
Way.
Yeah. So I don't know what you're talking about when you don't wear glasses, because I'm always wearing glasses. Yeah.
Mad ting, mad ting, mad
I,
ting.
I, don't, I don't
So,
have that privilege, man.
what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about the team of the season. We're gonna give our thoughts on our choices of who's gonna make our first 11, and we'll add in a 12th man for a sub after that. Big up to all of you guys in the chat. Let me know what you guys' choices are as well. But I think the most important thing to cover is actually from me and you what we thought about our seasons. Just from my standpoint as an Arsenal fan, um, I think it's important for all Arsenal fans to reflect a few things. Number one, no team has won 4 trophies in a row, and so regardless of the charges and everything against Man City, Pep Guardiola is still able to achieve something that no other team has achieved. And unfortunately, and I've got Neil here, who's a Liverpool supporter, so this goes for you as well, Neil. Jurgen Klopp could have won 2 or 3 titles in the Premier League. And the reason why he didn't was just because of how good Man City was. Mikel Arteta could have won back-to-back titles this season and last season. And the reason why he didn't was just because of the Man City train. Now, whatever will be in regards to the court charges and everything else. But he still had to get that team over the line. So for me, just congratulations on them for achieving that, but I will not give 100% of my kudos to them until these charges are settled. And I think for them as well, Neil, they need to know that they're in the clear.
I don't think
It's
those charges.
frustrating. It's frustrating for their fans as well because they don't want to see this. They want to get on with it. They want to be
Yeah,
able to put it behind them. So it's not just the league, rival fans, it's also their fans as well. Nobody wants that hanging over their heads, especially when they've punished everybody else except for them. So at the moment, right now, they've achieved what they've achieved. So they're
yeah,
getting all the accolades.
but when you look at the charges, are they actually good enough for the Premier League to actually do something? Because to me, this has been going on for too long. It's like an empty threat now. Yeah. For whatever reason, I mean, if the charges were that bad and that concrete, they would have already gone to court. Yeah, but it's just getting dragged out longer and longer and longer. And for me, this just needs to end. Just get it out of the way with. Whether you charge them, you charge them. If you're not going to charge them, just say, look, we've dropped it. And do you know what? Then everybody can move on.
Yeah.
You know?
It's frustrating, but and that, you know, people like me and you, we're just staying out of it, letting what will be will be.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
unfortunately, the frustration is we're not seeing any traction. What we've seen is Everton, Forest. We've seen 3 teams get penalised this season, and
Even
the
Leicester as
team
well.
that is and the team. Okay, so those teams didn't get relegated, and Leicester's coming up, and they're going to have to lie in their bed. But the team who won it, nothing's happening. And so why are you doing that to the smaller teams, picking on the small boys, and then the big boys, you're leaving them alone? So that to me is the problem.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to take City to court, you have to have money to take them to court, and you have to be confident that you're going to win.
Yeah.
Right. So the smaller teams, right, as soon as that was brought up, you know, they all started fretting, and they knew that. Do you know what? Especially Everton fessed up straight away. Yeah. So you know, for the smaller teams, that's why they got punished, in my view. Yeah, because they're not going to drag this out. They just said, you know, let them do what they want to do, and if we get charged, let's get it over and done with, so we can concentrate with the season. City, on the other hand, is look. Go on then, take us to court. Go on then, take us to court. Go on then. And they still haven't been taken to court.
Yeah, almost like they're daring you to do it. Go on then. If you think you're a bad man, take me to court. If you think you're bad and your chest big up, so
exactly.
Take me to court.
And that's what I'm saying, is that with that type of attitude, right? If the Premier League had something concrete that they could wipe the floor with them, they would have done it. They would have done it. Yeah. As I said, you know, you've had 3 other teams now: Forest, Everton, and Leicester. They've all been done. Well, Leicester hasn't been done yet, but
they're not even in the league yet, and they're gonna get toasted as soon as they come in. It's like, you know when you go to school and you're late, and as soon as you pass the gate, you get slapped on your backside on the way to the class. Go on, get to your class. So it's they're gonna get a nice warming.
And that's what I'm saying. That why nobody's doing anything about City. It's just right now for me. It's just talk. It's just 115 charges. We're gonna take them to court. How long have you been saying that?
Yeah.
You tell me one of those charges, you can't take them to court for one of those charges.
One. You know,
that's what I'm saying.
We saw teams get 6 points deducted for just one charge.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. 115 charges and nothing has happened yet. Yeah. I don't think the Premier League have anything that can really wipe the floor with them. That's my personal view. Yeah, because if they had, they would have already done it. You know.
So before we go into our teams, I've talked about Arsenal and how I'm so proud of them, and they've been managed to build this thing from the ground up. Considering when Arteta took the team over 4 years ago, January 2020, they were in 14th place. And he's managed to finish that season in 8th, and then since then it's been incremental improvement all the way up the ladder. And not only that, but now we're breaking records. We're breaking records year on year now. Last year scored 88 goals, most in franchise history. This year 91 goals. We broke that record, and not only that, now is we've had 2 more wins than the Invincibles. 28 wins, the most in franchise history, #1 best defense, set a Premier League record in set piece goals. So this guy is like, you hear some Arsenal fans saying, if he didn't win a title, then sack him. It's like, what? what are you smoking? And then, so for me, really proud to be a Gooner. Cannot wait for next season. Bring it on. For you with Liverpool.
Football is not black and white, but fans want it to be black and white. And if they don't get the results, get rid of the manager, irrespective of what he's done, and how he's brought the team up. And for me, those fans are fickle. I'm sorry, but those fans are fickle, because at the end of the day, right, you know, he's come in, he's learned from Pep, he's done his own thing, and he's brought you guys up. 2 seasons in a row, you've come second. If it weren't for City, you would have won it. We know City are just on a different league. And as I said to you before in the messages, right, now you know how Liverpool feel. The 2 seasons we got hit by 1 point. Yeah, we got pipped by 1 point in 2 seasons.
And that 97 points. You had 90. So, bro, when I looked at our 89 point total, first of all, City won the title last year with 89 points.
Yeah.
So and we had a better goal difference than them last year. So
Yeah.
Arsenal's 89 points would have been good enough to win them the title 9 times in the last 20 seasons. That's how that. So overall, give me a rundown of what your thoughts are on Liverpool's season.
Do you know what, right? It started slow. In my view, it started slow. We started to pick up a bit of momentum, and then Klopp dropped that banger on us. Yeah. And ever since then, we've done well. Unfortunately for me, the media had too much to say on it. The media has put pressure on the players by saying this is Klopp's last season. You've got to go out with a bang. Liverpool are going to win this. They're going to win that. They win, and I think it just got a bit too much for the players, because what you got to look at, we had a whole load of injuries. Yeah, we had to bring in young players like Quansah. For me, Quansah's been brilliant considering what he was dropped into. He's been dropped into the first team. Yeah. And when you're dropped in the first team and you're in defense, you know how much pressure you're under. Yeah, you know how much pressure you're under. Liverpool has hardly ever kept a clean sheet. But for me, right, I know it sounds kind of obvious, but for me, I think, to me, he's one of the players of the season, because he's had a lot put on him. And I'm not talking about how he plays. I'm just talking about pressure-wise. He's had a lot put on him. Yeah.
What about the injuries?
Well.
What about the injuries? You guys' injuries was like, I couldn't believe you were top of the table. And it's just like, how are these guys putting 11 men together and they're top of the table? I just couldn't understand it.
Because Klopp's always been encouraging to the guys. He's never kind of said, he's never put that extra pressure on them saying that we've got to win this, we've got to win this. He just says, look, go out, have fun, do your best. If we win, we win. If we don't, we won't. We don't. And that's the way it goes. So he kind of takes some of the pressure off when he gives them the pep talk and stuff. And they've just played well. But unfortunately, in the last, 4 games, we kind of just dropped off.
Yeah, sorry. The message for Bertram, I sent you the link about an hour ago on your messenger on Facebook. So it's not on on WhatsApp. I sent it on Messenger, and it would be my new account, because, as I said, I've had to delete the old account. Yeah, go on, Neil.
Right. So as I said, I mean, players like him. I mean, I have to take my hat off to him, because him and Conor Bradley, for me, those are the 2 young players of the season, in my view. Because, you know, they before the season, they've had no first team experience. And they've come in and they've done really, really well.
So where does Liverpool finish next season without Klopp? And we don't know what's going on with Salah. Where do they finish next season?
Do you know, it's hard to say. I'd love to say top 4. It's hard to say, because you're talking about a new manager. He's obviously going to want to bring in his own players. We don't know if he does bring in his own players, how they react to the Premier League. Because the Premier League, as you know, it's a hard league. It's a hard league. Unless he brings in players that are already in the Premier League from another team. Any new player coming into the Premier League, as I say to you guys, whenever a new player comes in, you have to give them 1 season, yeah, to adapt to the team that they're in and to the teams they're playing against. Yeah. And that's when I make my decision on whether this person's good enough or not. So when Slot comes in, if he keeps the main team and doesn't bring anyone in, yeah, definitely a top 4, no problem. Yeah. But if he starts tinkering with Klopp's formula straight away too early, that's what I'm saying, it's a new manager. Each manager doesn't want to be the next Jurgen Klopp. He wants to be on the
something like and Postecoglou, just like Spurs' manager.
Exactly. That's what he wants. He wants to come in with his own style and conquer the league.
Listen to this naughtiness here. Cam says, Apollo, Arteta and Pep's contract is over next season. Arteta to City.
What?
Well, yeah.
Really?
Let me first say something, bro. I know for a fact from my sources that they're working on Arteta's new contract as we speak. So, you know, just let Arteta, I think he's got some time to visit his sister. Him and Lorena, his wife, are going to go away, enjoy their summer, and then they'll get that done as soon as they come back. So go ahead, move with that rubbishness.
Who said
Man,
that anyway? Pep is on a good thing. Pep, wherever he's gone, he's always been on a good thing. He's always gone to the top teams, and he's always done well. Yeah,
that's because he's always gone to the top teams.
That's what I'm saying. But where's he going to go? Where can he go from City? Think about it. Where can he go from City? Yeah, he's not going to have the money wherever he goes after that. Yeah. Right. Any other top team? He's already conquered Spain, Germany, the UK. Yeah.
I'd like to see him take on a project. I wanted him to come to Arsenal and work his magic there, but he's always taken the easy road, which is the best teams with the most money to spend. In that respect, I'd like him to go to a team like Valencia, a team.
Seriously, right? And this is what I'd like to see with him. I like to see this with Klopp, right? Take over a championship side just for one season. See how, because.
Well, not championship side, but a decent side.
No. Championship side. The reason why I said it, you haven't got the budget, right? So you have to find the right players with the limited budget you have, right? He's never had a limited budget wherever he's gone. He's never had a limited budget, right? So I'm not saying that he's not good, because he's a very good manager, because he's still taken players on and he's molded them into a champion winning side. That is great. But put the shoe on the other foot. What if he was at a team that wasn't any good? Would he be able to bring them up to win that league?
Yeah, Porto, Mourinho. I want to see them doing Mourinho Porto. That's what I want.
And that's what I'm saying. Klopp's done it. He's done it with Dortmund. Yeah, he's done it with Dortmund, right? So I know Klopp has that talent to do that. It will take him a while, but he has that talent to do that. And he actually did that with Liverpool as well.
Yeah.
Because we weren't like a top 4 side when he came in. Yeah, we were.
Right. So let's talk about our Premier League team of the season. We've got quite a few viewers now. We've got, my God, there's 600 people watching us on Twitter. Only about 20, 30 people watching us on,
right? No pressure,
on YouTube.
Thanks,
no. So we always get a lot of views on Twitter. So the nature, the nature of Twitter is just like everybody's on Twitter. So shout out to all of you lot on Twitter.
It's not Twitter, man. It's not Twitter. It's not Twitter. It's X.
I don't call it X. That's foolishness. I don't call it that. It's Twitter to me. So it's so for all of you guys watching, if you want to make comments, we can only see them on YouTube. So jump on the YouTube channel, and then we can get your comments on there. But let's talk about the team this season. Now, there's going to be a little bit of, some people ain't going to be happy with the team. Some people might be happy, but we'll get somewhere. We're not going to do a consensus like we did last year. This is just going to be our own choice. So let's kind of work it through as we see fit. So let's talk about the goalkeeper first. Let me go with you first, Neil. Who did you choose for your goalie of the season and why?
Right, okay. I'm going to have to wing this because I didn't write anything down, to be honest.
No, that's fine. Just wing it. Yeah, just wing it, bro.
To be honest, I'm trying to think of an outstanding goalkeeper that's been outstanding this season. I can't.
Shall I do mine first?
I can't go for Ederson because he's had a great front four in front of him, even though he's a great keeper. The Luton keeper was really good, considering the pressure he's been under. But I can't remember his name now.
Oh wow, it's a good one. Emerson just said Emerson.
Yeah, can't say Emerson because no, I can't. He's got a great four in front of him. For me, it's got to be a player it's got to be a keeper that has an okay front four, but has been outstanding, especially against the top teams. Luton's been the team, man. That's been, for me, Luton's been the team this season. Unfortunately, they got relegated because they weren't good enough. But that keeper was under some serious pressure, man.
So it might be John Shea. It might be John Shea. I think it might be. Yeah, hold on. Let me just go and have a look. I think it's probably John Shea. Yeah, it is. It's James Shea. James Shea. Yeah, it's just me. Yeah.
For me, he's been outstanding.
No, sorry, no, it's not. It's oh God, sorry. He's the backup, the English guy. It's Kaminski. It's the Thomas Kaminski. That's the guy. Yeah, it's Thomas Kaminski. I just checked it up on the Premier League.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's an all right. Okay. Bertram saying the link that I sent him is old. So I know. I'm not sure how it can be.
He's not meant to be on, man.
I don't know how it's an old link. All right, Bertram, I'm sending this one now. Here we go. Right, try that one, Bertram. I've just sent it through. So you should be able to join us because Bertram, your time's coming up. We're already on the goalkeeper, so you better hurry up and get in there. And so I'm going to go with. Ooh, this might be. No, it's not going to be controversial. My goalkeeper is going to be Emi Martinez. He's going to be my goalkeeper of the season. So I'm going to go with him. So you guys,
why is that?
Because first of all, I've been saying 3 years ago that this guy is top 5 in the world. And I got to see him at Arsenal playing reserve games. I got to see him when he came to the first team. I said to everybody, you wait to see how this guy is. He's better than Leno. And everyone said, rubbish. How can he be better than Leno? What happened? They had this whole thing where he played the whole season and outperformed Leno, quite frankly. And in the end, they sold him for peanuts. I mean, like he's worth what, 60, 70 million now? How we sold him for 20 million is one of the worst things that Arsenal's ever done under the Edu Tencha. This is probably, you can look at the Willian, the Cedric Soares, the Mari deal. You could look at a few deals that were head scratchers for Edu, but definitely selling and definitely said that selling Martinez for 20 million, that was just heads gone. Don't understand that at all. So for me, like he's a World Cup winner. He's proven in the Premier League. He got everything: shot stopper, distribution, penalty. He's probably the best penalty save goalkeeper in the Premier League. One of the best in the world, actually. He plays mind games with you. He commands his box. Really makes mistakes. So I'm going with Martinez. I'm going with Martinez.
With the Luton keeper because he was under more pressure, man. He's under more pressure.
For real. A lot of pressure. Bertram, first of all, how are you, man? It's good to see you.
I am doing well, no complaints. I'm trying to do all these things to start a channel. It's more painful than I thought it was.
It's very painful.
Avenues, a lot of pain, a lot of work, but it's all good. It's all good.
I remember, by the way, guys, Bertram is in a new channel, so we're going to advertise that for him and help him get off the mark. So I'd love for all of you guys to go and support him as well as you've supported him here. But I remember in my first year, I've had this channel now 4 years, and in my first year, I had about 100 subscribers in my first year, and I went with the mentality that if there was one person out there that was willing to listen to me, then I'm doing something right. And I had all kinds of audio problems, not so much video problems, but audio editing problems. It was just like one problem after another, and then you kind of learn how to deal with your demons. I remember I used to use a wired headphone, and every time I moved emotionally, the wire would pop the sound out, and then I would stop hearing people, and I couldn't. It was just an absolute nightmare. Some of the editings was just. I watch a channel for a video I did 4 years ago. You know when they got stuff where YouTubers watch their first ever videos, and you just sit here and laugh at it, and it's just like how embarrassing! I can't believe that was me. And so it's really eye opening.
No, but for me, it's gonna be a hobby. So I'm not doing it for the funds. It's going to be a hobby. If I don't get 1,000 subscribers in the first 3 months, I'm closing it down. I don't operate like that. I'm the opposite of you. I want instant success, or so I'm just going to move on, do something else. I have these people give me all these things that I do. They want me to get involved in. I'm like, no, I'm going to try the channel thing first. So let's see what happens. But it should be fun. It should be fun. I have a lot of views on a lot of different things, so I want to express those views. And don't implicate other people's channels. So if I do that on my own, get in trouble by myself.
And it's good. And you know what? You're freelance now because you're not tied to any affiliation, any companies or anything. So you can pretty much say whatever the hell you want.
Yep. When I was in corporate environment, I was very cautious about even going on channels, much less saying stuff. So now I'm not working for anybody. I can be more expressive.
Yeah, whatever. Just a word of advice: whatever your channel's going to be called, use the word unfiltered in there, and just say what the hell you want to say, man. Just, that's what I would do.
That's for the social channel, which will come later. There's a sports channel, and there is a Cronky Uncensored, which means I'll say what I darn well want to say.
Excellent.
You know how you talk about different things like politics? I'm big into that stuff, so yeah.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. And so, guys, Bertram, we're talking about the Premier League first 11 team. Neil's gone for the Luton goalkeeper. I've gone for Martinez. Who have you gone for?
Martinez.
Yeah,
I think he's the best goalkeeper in the Premier League. I don't watch enough of world football to make that statement. I don't watch enough of the Italian League or Bundesliga, but I think in the Premier League is the best goalkeeper. And I've watched him quite a bit since he was with us and left us. And I'll say a couple of things, actually, because I heard you guys talking earlier about Kwanzaa and others from Liverpool who came into the team. We talked about Martinez. I think because there's so much pressure in the Premier League to win and win now, I'm not sure managers spend enough time thinking about who can fit into their team, who may not have a name recognition. Liverpool is a perfect example. The people who came to Liverpool's team came in because of injuries. It wasn't because Klopp just brought them in and played them. Because to me, Trent can't defend. Didn't know how to defend, can't defend, still can't defend.
You're not the only one.
So he should not be playing right back, frankly. And that's interesting. Kwanzaa, for example, you had Matic, you have Konate. Konate is a big player, play for France. But his injuries, I got Kwanzaa in, and now Kwanzaa is now an England team, or England 30-something man squad, right? So it tells you a lot. Arsenal doesn't introduce, Arteta, and I've said this before, I get a lot of grief from my Arsenal fan. He hasn't introduced any new player from the academy into the team. Now, they may not be good enough like the Liverpool players, but he hasn't introduced any. Yeah. He has brought along some, he hasn't introduced any. And that's 4 years now running.
Hey, listen, even Ben Doak, who played for us this season, he got into the Scotland side.
Yeah,
he did. Yeah. Well, we're going to see what happens because Ethan Ranieri and Walters and Kozia Dubry are probably going to be coming into the first team next season. We know what Ranieri did against when he played for England over the last week. Great goal that he scored there. So let's keep an eye on that, Bertram. I can't wait to see that come to fruition. The longer he's been there, the more he's been able to work alongside Pierre Mertesacker. So I really want to see that. I want to see that for myself as well, because if you're going to let, and I don't want to get too Arsenal-centric here, but if you're going to let Smith Rowe go, Nketiah go, Reece Nelson go, then...
Oh, by the way, it's in Jamaica. It's in Jamaica. Let me just mention that for people. It's in Jamaica. It's just vacation. I go to the squad, but it's in Jamaica. It's a big deal in Jamaica, actually. Yeah.
Excellent. If you're going to do that, then you're forfeiting 3 members of your homegrown quota. Yes. So you have to replace them. And the way to
maybe Ramsdale also. Maybe Ramsdale.
Yeah, that's another one. So the way to deal with that oversight is to just bring players up in the academy. So look forward to Kozia Dubry, Ranieri, maybe Will Walters, who are big time players in the under 21s. Really make that adaptation to the first team and give them their chance. If you didn't believe in the other guys, give them their chance and see how they work. And you know what? Get 70, 80, 90 million for those 3 players that I mentioned. Get your money's worth.
And if people haven't done this, they should watch the interview with Onana. Actually, it was a good interview because I was on the treadmill and it made me, I was on the elliptical machine and I did 30 minutes without even realizing it because I thought it was a very interesting interview. I thought he spoke very well. But what I drew from it was even when you're young at 17, you want to play. And if you're not playing, you may see greener pastures. So he didn't stay at Barcelona because he wanted to play. He didn't come to Arsenal or Man City United because he wanted to play. That's when he went to Ajax. Right? So even if you're young, you want to play. That was what I drew from his interview. Which was good.
So, guys, we're going to move on to left back. And I'm going to go first on this. In fact, I'll go first on everyone, and then I'll let you guys follow. The left back was the only problem that I had because left back for me has been a real. I think the levels really dropped this season on left back. When I looked at the previous players before who we've chosen, the Luke Shaws and the Casados, the Man City players, the levels have just dropped for me. So I struggled there. This is the only one I struggled with. So I've got 2 names. I've got Nduggy for Spurs. You're not going to believe that. And then I've got Josko Gvardiol at Manchester City. Now, I'll probably go with the City player first because I think he's had the most all-round system. And with Spurs, Postecoglou, look, it's his first season. That defense hardly really keeps clean sheets. They've been all over the place. He don't. According to him,
he's been a standout. He's been a standout player in their back four.
He has been. That's the point I'm really trying to make. But considering when you've got a manager who says, "I don't care about set pieces," then you kind of see what this player is up against. You know, when you got a manager who's naive when it comes to those type of things, the defending, plays the high line and gets toasted. We saw the Chelsea game. We saw the was it the Newcastle game where they got toasted as well. So when you've got a guy like Postecoglou who's stuck in his ways and is naive, is not really helping his cause. But I think that he was definitely a light that shined among that back four. But I would probably go with the Man City player. Neil, what's your thoughts? Who was your pick for the best left back in the Premier League this season?
I mean, looking at those two players that you've got there, Gvardiol is the player that I would pick, to be honest. He's one I would go for because he's just done that much more, and he's new to the team this season.
Yeah, it's his first season, isn't it?
Really well. Yep, he's done really well. Udogie, as I said, you got to look at Spurs and you got to look at how Spurs play with it when they do play the high line. They have been caught out quite a lot, but he has been, for me, a standout player within that team. But Gvardiol pips him, in my view.
So
excellent. What about you, Bertram? Who's your choice?
I picked Udogie, actually. I thought he was playing almost like a wing. It wasn't a true left back a lot of the time, the way they play, with both the right and left back going inverted a lot of time and way up the field inverted, not just like how Zinchenko plays it. But I thought before his injury, I thought he was a standout player and one of Spurs' better players for the season. Gvardiol has adapted well as a center back to the left back position. I still don't think he's the best left back. He hasn't been tested enough because of how they play and how they dominate the ball. I've seen him tested a few times, and it's a challenge for him when he truly gets tested. The last game they played against Spurs, he got tested somewhat. Right back. Walker's right back, not left back. Mm-hmm. Right? But I picked Udogie, even though he's a Tottenham player, because I thought he had a very, very good season. And I thought his versatility... I thought his versatility was good. If you watch him play, he's very versatile in terms of how he plays the left back position. He's not your traditional left back, where I just stayed out there like a Tierney, for example. He's a much more, almost like a Zinchenko, but he can defend. Because Zinchenko can't, like Alexander-Arnold cannot defend. So
Emerson has just told us that Will Walters has left as his contract expired.
Yes, he's leaving.
That is astonishing. I mean, I last I heard they were talking about renewing his contract, but here's a quality player to let go. It happens, guys. Happened with we lost Hutchinson the other year.
Apollo, we say it happens, Apollo, but if you're a coach and you have these kids on the bench all season, you play PSV, you have nothing to play for. You could play anybody. You're not going to get more points. Your position's not going to change. You play none of them for the entire game. I'm sitting there saying, I got to leave this organization because this coach doesn't respect. That's why Hutchinson left. Hutchinson complained when he left about him not giving young players an opportunity. It's not to see you playing in a Premier League game. You're playing a Champions League game. And the only reason why he played Nwaneri because Nwaneri's contract was up and everybody was pursuing Nwaneri, so he played him to be the youngest player ever. It's a fallacy. It's not reality.
So, and then it's a shame for Hutchinson. He goes to Chelsea and then they end up spending £1 billion on players, and then he's just, and then that's the end of his Chelsea career.
No. He went to Ipswich and did really well.
Yeah.
He did extremely well at Ipswich, actually. Get player of the month in some months in the Championship. So he's done really well at Ipswich.
So, guys, for right back, and this might be controversial for some of you, but for right back, I went for Ben White. Now, the thing about Ben White, and I don't want to make this too long, but this is really important. I really challenged this player because I didn't think that he had the best starts of the season. I thought he played too passive, and I thought he didn't cut down wingers. But when I look at his overall season, and look, he was not supposed to be playing there. Bought Yuri and Timber. He joined in the summer, and Ben White got to show his worth because the ACL injury for Urian Timber. But guys, Ben White playing at right back has just been absolutely astonishing. He's been excellent. And all this noise about the best right backing in England team is not even in the squad. And that's really down to Ben White. Whatever happened with him and the coaches there, it's none of our business. That's a personal issue. And I respect whatever Ben White wants to do. But the best right back is not in the England team playing for England right now in the Euros. He's been astonishing. Saka, for me, is half the player when this guy doesn't play, because he supports you so well in the build-up play with Odegaard and Saka. Then it's almost like you're spoilt now. And it only goes to show the levels that Urian Timber is going to bring. People don't realize how good a player Timber is. When you see him at Arsenal next season, you're going to be surprised, because this guy is ridiculous. He's just ridiculously good. But Ben White's been able to facilitate that, and so he gets my choice as the right back in that position. What about you, Neil? Who was your right back this season?
To be honest, the player that I was kind of following was actually Newcastle. I can't remember his name now. I can see him.
Trippier.
Yeah, that's the one. That's right. But a lot of the players that I was looking at, unfortunately, they've gone through some serious injuries throughout the season. So for me, Trippier, it was either him or Porro, or even Kyle Walker.
Yeah, I think I thought about that, but then I looked at Arsenal's defense, and I saw him play and the stuff that he was doing. I was thinking, because I said in January, I said if this guy doesn't tighten up, we got no chance. And then they went on that run. It's just absolutely phenomenal. Dropped 5 points this calendar year. And Ben White's a part of that defense.
No, I get that. But what you guys have done this season and last season, remember, City have been doing it all the time, man.
The defense has been good, City. City's defense have always been in the top three. Really, last year's defense, it was Newcastle number 1, Arsenal number 2, City number 3. And this season, City have got the second best defense behind Arsenal. So City play good defense, and most of that is because their midfield doesn't let anybody get the ball. They win the ball back so quickly upfield that it makes it so much easier, and we're just sort of the antithesis of that, because we've got,
team, isn't it? They're playing winners.
Yeah. That's the difference. That's the difference Declan Rice has made to Arsenal, that he's been managed to turn that over the line and turn us into the best defense in the league, and it's not even close, really. Bertram, who's your choice at right back?
Until he retires, Kyle Walker, or until Timber takes over.
That's true. That's a good point.
And I think Timber will be the right back of the future for the Premier League in terms of the best, not only best right back, one of the best players in the Premier League. I think that's.
Yeah,
Timber was our best player in preseason by a decent margin. Even when Rice was new and all these other players, Timber was our best player.
Yeah.
And his last game coming up in ACL, it looked like he didn't miss a beat, frankly. He got a few minutes and it looked like he didn't miss a beat. The tacklers was dribbling down the line, so he's a good player.
Centre backs, guys. I'm just gonna pair mine. My pairing is the best centre back in the Premier League. For me, it's not even a question. The only choice I was going to do was move Gabriel out for Van Dijk. The reason why I didn't do that is because I had to look at their overall season, and Gabriel, remember, had 4 or 5 goals as well. And so, and in many respects, guys, and this is not even an unpopular opinion, but for the first half of the season, Gabriel was actually in my team of the season at that point, and Saliba wasn't. So that's how good Gabriel and how consistent. When Gabriel first came here, he used to be rash. He used to do some very rash things. And that rashness and rawness he's taken out of his game. And he seems a lot more composed now. He's a threat on set pieces. And his duels, he just doesn't let anybody get behind him. I've seen Saliba make mistakes and recover from those mistakes. And he's been doing that quite a while. And that really speaks to how good Saliba is that Saliba can give a guy a step and then just catch him and cover it. Gabriel doesn't even let the guy get a step on him. He doesn't make those mistakes. He makes way fewer mistakes than Saliba. But he's just, for me, he's probably, if I had to pick the best centre-back in the Premier League this season, I know it's controversial, but I would say it's actually Gabriel and then Saliba. Neil.
Wow.
You have to get Van Dijk in there, isn't it, Neil? He just missed out for me, just by a smidge.
Van Dijk, as I said, like a lot of our players this season, we hit the ground running, but we didn't hit the ground running. There was injuries and stuff like that. As a leader and as a captain, yes, Van Dijk for me, definitely, he's got to be one of the centre backs of the season. But it's who am I going to pair him with? I hear you with Saliba and Gabriel, but you've also got Ruben Diaz, who's done really well as well. I know I'm talking about City players at the moment. Trying to think of someone outside of Diaz, Ake, who else? Yeah, so I'm going to go with Van Dijk, and you like it, I'll say Saliba.
Yeah. That's a decent. That is what is on most publications.
Yeah.
When I looked at BT, Sky, when I looked at TNT, when I looked at a lot of publications, BBC, that was pretty much the best too. Because when you think about it, and if you look at Diaz at Man City's performance, it's been okay, but no way has it been on these guys' levels. And at some point, Van Dijk was pretty much holding Liverpool up because they were leaking goals, bro. You guys were going 1-0 down every week. And it was just like every week you were fighting to try and get it back in this race. But Gabriel and Saliba are just playing out shut.
Yeah, but a lot of times we leaked goals. It was when Trent was playing. Yeah, when Trent was playing, that's when we were leaking a lot of goals because he was not doing. He's not getting back. He's not defending. Yeah, the amount of times that a player's right just behind him or just in front of him, you're kind of thinking, Trent, you should have been on that player. You could have stopped that goal. Now and then when Connor came in, we kind of, we were still conceding goals, but we're conceding less goals, and it was harder for us to be scored again because he was defending. He was getting up there, but he was also coming back and he was plugging those holes. So, yeah.
I want to before Bertram makes his choice, I want to say this, Bertram. When you have a pairing, when you have bookends, whether that's cornerback, left tackle, right tackle, centre backs, there's always a stronger pairing with one than the other. There's always a lead guy. There's always a guy where you say, let's put him on our best striker, or let's put that player on their best player. Yeah. But with Arsenal this season, I didn't see that. I saw Gabriel handle top strikers as good as Saliba did. And not just that, but I saw the likes of Haaland, by the way, this season, not a sniff against us. I saw Ollie Watkins, not a sniff. Ivan Toney, just not a sniff. Like, these guys are shutting everything down. Everything. It don't matter who you are, how good you are, your talent level. That means nothing to these guys.
Yeah,
Gabriel and Saliba.
There were two Ivan Toneys this season. The one before the ban and one after the ban. And the one after the ban was not anywhere close to the one before the ban.
Well, he was a bit injured, but he was scoring. He scored 5 goals in the first 4 weeks he was back. So it was like he wasn't away.
It dried up after that.
Yeah, it dried up. I think that was the injuries. Bertram, who's your centre-back pairing?
So the team that gave up 29 goals and become some really bad mistakes that shouldn't be made, they probably give about 23, 22 as a pairing. You look at Liverpool team, I think they gave up 41 goals. Yeah. Some of those were Van Dijk's fault. But what people don't see is, like Saliba, when Van Dijk and Saliba make mistakes, it's not very obvious sometimes.
Yeah.
Because they're sometimes out of position. Gabriel's mistakes are very pronounced. He made a missed kick. He played a ball in a space like against Bayern where it shouldn't have been played, or made a pass. His mistakes are like Ramsdale's mistake. No, not like Ramsdale, like Raya's mistake. Ramsdale's mistake don't cost you as much. Raya's mistake seems to cost you, and Ramsdale used to make a mistake every game, almost every game, which is really interesting situation. But no, I think the centre-back pairing for Arsenal, we didn't lose to Big 16 this year, the traditional Big 6. We only gave up 29 goals, less than 1 per game. we played comfortable against most teams during the season, even against Bayern. Harry Kane didn't do much in the two leg that we played against them. It was more Sane on the right who was causing a lot of trouble. So I do think that centre back pairing has been exceptional this year, and actually, not only they played well, but they were very durable.
Yeah.
Right? So they played every minute of every game, and there were a few games Gabriel had some problems, but we played through the injury. So, but Van Dijk is one of my favorite players. He's just an excellent footballer, period, not just a centre back. I thought this year he was out of position a number of times that caused goal, but it wasn't obvious.
Yeah, but the thing with Van Dijk, what you got to look at is, unfortunately, the way Liverpool defend, especially when we play the high line, Van Dijk is normally the one closest to Alisson. And you got to look at his age. You got to look at the players he's going up against. Yeah,
right. He'll be 33 this season. This season, 33.
That's what I'm saying. And when you look at who he's being paired with, when you look at who's supposed to be covering him, when he's slow in getting back, we've got three other defenders who should be able to kind of slow the team down until he gets into position. Yeah,
we don't give any allowances for age or for lack of support. We give.
You've seen how we've defended, and that's the reason why we can see so much.
That's Neil, right? Kwanzaa has helped actually.
No. I've already said Kwanzaa. I've already said that Kwanzaa has been really good considering this is his first season. How the amount of pressure that's been dropped on him. Yeah, he's done really well considering. Yeah, because remember he wasn't supposed to be there. Yeah, but because of the injuries that we had,
that's true.
He was there. Yeah, so he's one of the least prepared defenders that we've got, but he's still done well. The same with Conor Bradley as well. He wasn't supposed to be there. Yeah, but then
don't you blame your manager for some of this? Because Trent should not be playing right back. Trent is an awful defender. Like not even bad. He's awful.
Right, because the thing is, Trent. Okay, as a winger, Trent is good. Yeah, but yes, when you talk about the actual defensive part, we still have three players who can cover. Yeah, we haven't been able to get that right this season. Hence why we leaked the amount of goals. Yeah, Trent has actually defended in a few games. He's actually defended pretty well, but it's not consistent enough, and it's not over enough games. Yeah, I mean Trent's
like Emerson from Tottenham. He's like Emerson from Tottenham.
Yeah, Trent. I suppose Trent probably. I'd say maybe 6 games, if that. He's actually defended well, but the other 32 games. He's been missing when he's not injured.
He was injured.
I know. When he's not injured, he's been missing.
Look, he's a brilliant when he at the football. When he has the ball, he's brilliant, right? Nobody can strike a ball like he can in the Premier League period.
And I've always said, put him in midfield. Right? Put Conor Bradley in that position. Yeah, we would have been better. We would have been playing better.
But he's still got to defend the midfield. If he's playing the 8. Or the 6, he's got to defend. He's not going to play the 6. He's going to play the 8.
He's not. Come on, look. He's not a defensive midfielder, right? Everybody needs to get that out of his head. If the man can't defend as a left back, you can't put him in midfield and say, "Oh, Trent, when we're under pressure, you need to defend." It's not going to happen. If he's not doing it when he's in the position, you can't put him in another position and then expect him to defend. That's not going to happen. Yeah.
So, guys, let's do the midfield. I'm going to do all 3 of mine, and then we'll move to you guys. And I don't think it's going to be any surprise from all of you guys who I think the 3 best midfielders are. I'm going with... yes, I have spelled Declan Rice wrong. Hold on a second. I don't know what I'm doing. Declan... Better. Right. So... I've gone with Declan Rice, Rodri, and Odegaard. Now, Rodri's an odd one for me, really, because I know he had that stretch where he missed about 5 games and City just couldn't win without him. And when I see things, it was like, well, we wasn't even that bad when Thomas Partey was missing. At least we were missing games when Thomas Partey was missing. Like, Man City couldn't even do anything. And as good as Phil Foden wasn't a difference maker when Rodri was there. They just couldn't win without this guy. So The fact that he was not even nominated for Player of the Year in the Premier League, I mean, I couldn't believe it. Your guy Phil Foden, he picked up that trophy, and they didn't even look at you. And guys, look, Rodri, man, ridiculously talented player. His positioning is I would say he's as good as Declan Rice in terms of his positioning. Incredibly defensive player, adds goals and assists to ease a game. And this is where I think, and I'll move on to Declan Rice now. This is where I think Declan Rice has surpassed him. And there's a theme I've been bringing up for the whole season, this season, or going all the way back to September. Declan Rice, from the age of 21 3 years ago, has always led the league. And if you follow this channel, you'll hear me say this. It was on my last video as well. Interceptions, recoveries, tackles, duels. From the age of 21, Declan Rice has topped out the league. He's been the best. There's no question. It's not even a discussion. It's not even an opinion. It's factually proven that he has been the top of the chain. He's been either first or second in each category for the last 3 years. Got no complaints from me. The question was, how would that translate to Arsenal? In the first half of the season, we saw him play the sort of Thomas Partey role, and there was mixed results. He was fantastic, brilliant, got Player of the Month 3 times, awesome talent, brilliant. He shone. He really put his stamp on the team. And then in the second half of the season, from this January, he played more as a number 8 because we had the double pivot with Jorginho, and we had an incredible run with 11 games. Dropping just 5 points, and you know, he was a big reason for that. So this is my point is, this is a 2-dimensional player. This is a guy who can play at the 6. He's learning to play at 8. Everybody talked about how great Xhaka was last season, scoring 7 goals and 7 assists at the 8. This guy in his first season did better than that. Not only did he score 8 goals and 9 assists, but he's actually, again, number 1 in the league in recoveries, number 2 in the league in tackles, number 1 in the league in duels and passes intercepted. So he is just the de facto best player in terms of, he's the new Makelele. Yeah? But the thing is, he's the new Makelele who's scoring goals and creating goals. The fact that he's got 9 assists. The last guy I remember in the midfield getting that amount of assists was Alex Song. 1 year, Alex Song had 16 assists for Arsenal. He was just absolutely peppering Adebayo, Walcott, Sanchez. It was Ozil, Giroud. He was literally just peppering those guys. And so the fact that he's able to, for me, I think Declan Rice is probably the best all-round player in the Premier League, because he's given up just one phase. I used to talk about Basuma being a defensive monster. But can you imagine being a defensive monster and adding goals to your game where you're scoring and you're creating, and that's just an unbelievable. This guy, this is his first season playing in the number 8. He's 24 years old, and his journey is just beginning. There's more to come from Declan Rice. And that moves me on to Odegaard. Odegaard, incredible footballer. The de facto best number 10 in football for me. He's created more chances and played more, created more shot conversions than any player in the Premier League, not just this season, but last season as well. And I say that because some people say, oh, Kevin De Bruyne was out for 4 months this season. So he did it last season as well when Kevin De Bruyne was fit. So over a time, Odegaard's just proven that there is no better creator. And it's not just in the Premier League, in Europe. There's no one creating the amount of chances in Europe than this guy. And if you watch him play live, Odegaard's ridiculous. He never stops running. He sets the tempo. And I just think that this midfield I have here with Rice, Rodri, and Odegaard is just an incredible set of midfield talent. If we had to line this midfield up against any in Europe or in the world, you're not getting past these 3. Neil.
Wow, what can I say to that? kind of interesting. It's interesting what you said, but for me, there are other midfielders out there who have done just as well. All right, Arsenal has the best defensively. Declan Rice has done well, considering. Odegaard, yeah, I suppose so. Rodri, yeah, but then for me, I would look at players like Palmer, Cole Palmer, done really well. You look at what Chelsea have done. Yes, they haven't been that great, but he's been their standout player. You stick him in Arsenal. How well would you have done if you stuck him in Arsenal, considering his talent and what he can do and what he can bring to your team?
Who's that?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Cole Palmer.
Yeah, he plays as a forward now. He's not a midfielder.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's in my team. He's in my team, but he's in my team
as a forward. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which is where he plays. Yeah.
All right. There's with Endo. I can't say his first name. I can never say his first name. For us, he's been really good as a defensive midfielder. Yeah, he's done a lot as well. KDB. He's another player that you can't leave out. I can't. What's it? How do you say his name?
Kulusevski.
That's the one. I can never say his name. Never say his name. He's been brilliant this season as well. Yeah, he's been brilliant this season as well. I mean, I suppose if I had to go for three. Oh, he's broken up. You break up, Paulo.
They're big as Jay Madison. Yeah, can you hear me better now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Can you hear me now? I showed Andy a sheet with James Maddison. And in the last 5 seasons for Spurs this season and Leicester, James Maddison starts the seasons really, really well. And in the second half of the season, he just goes bang. He just hits a brick wall. He's done it for the last 5 years. And it's such a shame because I like the player. I wanted him to come to Arsenal. But that type of drop-off is you saw what happened with Spurs. You saw their results, 5 losses in a row, and they're looking for their number 10 for inspiration, and the guy's just hiding underneath the bench. So yeah, that's my thoughts on James Maddison. As much as I love him,
I'll go for the 3 that you've gone for, but two players, unfortunately, they got relegated. Who did pretty well as well. Sorry, one player who got relegated was Ross Barkley. He did really well. For Brighton, you've also got look at Pascal Gross as well. He's done really well this season. Yeah, and these guys have done a lot for teams that weren't in the top league, and they played just as well. They've just been ignored because their team hasn't been hitting the numbers that Arsenal, that City, and have been. And that's what I'm saying. So when you're looking at top players, it's very easy to pick a top player that's in a team that's doing well. Yeah, you've got to look at the players. For me, a top player is a player who helps his team so much. So unfortunately, Barkley, he can't keep the team up. He can't keep Luton up. But he did his bit. He did more than his bit. And when you look at some of the results they got and what he did in those games, you can't argue with that. You can't argue with that. And when he first went to Luton, I kind of thought, why have they got him? He's crap. But he proved me wrong this season.
So, Bertram, before I go to you, I just wanted to let you know, these 3 midfielders that we have in front of us here, if we took first of all, the 3 of them playing on one team is absolutely terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. Secondly, they have a combined total of 23 goals, 27 assists, and over 200 tackles. Could you imagine that? We're talking about, a plethora of Makaleles who have a hand in 50 goals in one season. That's incredible. That's where football has moved. That you're talking about players in the midfield of your park who are scoring goals, they're creating, they're tackling, they're pressing, they're hitting those interceptions, they're winning them duels. It's the full package, Bertram. What's your thoughts on your 3?
So it depends on what formation I'm playing. Am I playing a double pivot? Because I still don't see Rice as a true 8. And one of the things I struggle with sometimes with some players, look, I think Rodri is probably the best player in the Premier League. Even though I think Partey is probably almost as good as Rodri, frankly, but he can't stay on the field, so you'll never know, and we'll never know as Arsenal fans.
Yeah, true.
I don't see Rice as a true 8. Actually, I would think of players like Douglas Luiz or Eze, whose stats are just as comparable. I think Luiz is 9 and 5. I think Eze is 11 and 4, 11 and 5.
Yep.
And I love Eze, by the way.
Oh.
My 8 has to create stuff. I want my 8 gliding by people, putting the ball in the net, playing passes in difficult situations. That's all my 8 to play. Now they got to play some defense, and Eze's defense may not be where it needs to be. But Crystal Palace asks him to play much more forward, even though he's playing the 8. So I see Eze and Douglas Luiz, who I think is a brilliant player, who we've been trying to get actually, as a more regular 8 and a natural 8 than a Rice. I didn't see Rice dominate certain games which I want to dominate. Bayern comes to mind, for example. City's second game comes to mind. So I struggle with players who sometimes get so much laudatory comments and so much accolades, but in the big games, you said about Saka, they're not dominating. Rodri dominates every game he plays in. Rodri is the most intelligent footballer playing in the Premier League. Like, people don't realize what Rodri does. Rodri just don't make a pass. He make a pass right behind the first line of defense, which is hard to make, to then give De Bruyne a space to trap the ball up the field. And gap between him and the defender and the first line of midfielders. So he's taking some risk, but he's not turning the ball over, which is brilliant if you want to break difficult teams down. Also, it's hard to compare Rodri and Rice stats defensively because City always has the ball. Now, we have a lot of the ball, but City always have the ball. So they don't have to defend to win the ball back. They win the ball up by our field, and then they play the ball up for 87 minutes up to 90 minutes. So when is he going to have defensive stats when they always have the ball? So those comparative are very hard to do. Having said all that, I think Rodri and Odegaard to me are natural. Odegaard is a brilliant player, even though his stats are not as good this season as they were last season. But I think it's easy on the eyes to watch. He's brilliant on the ball. Most times he makes the right decisions. Not great defensively, even though he tries. So it's not like an effort. It's like a defensive ability to me. So I'm going to give Rodri and Odegaard. And I'm tempted to say Eze, but the only reason I'm going to say Rice is because of the defensive element. But I don't think Rice is an 8. He's not an 8.
Yeah, and it's funny you mention that because it's funny you mention that because I did mention all the accolades he was winning, Player of the Month 3 times in the Premier League in the first half of the season as a 6, and then in 2024 he played predominantly as an 8, and that's a position he himself says he's still learning at. So that coincides the consistency in your comments and mine. That Rice is still a developing player at that position, and time will tell whether he will stay there in that 8 position, and it really depends on what they do with Thomas Partey. There's a lot of rumors going on with Thomas Partey this week, guys. I have gone on Twitter to talk to a few guys about it. They are not true, and we'll have to see what happens. For now, that midfield is still Partey, Odegaard, and Rice, and we'll have to work and see how that goes through the summer. The Douglas Luiz thing.
One thing, Apollo. I hope my manager learned from last year. Don't tinker at the beginning of the season. Play your best players, okay? Don't put no Partey in a right back. Don't put no Gabriel on the bench. Play your best team.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about that, Bertram. I think didn't I told you off the record why that happened, didn't I?
I know, but I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Hey, put him on the bench. Put him on the bench. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Put him on the bench.
Right, guys. So my front 3 players. Here we go. So this is my front 3 players of my team of the season in the Premier League. Now, first of all, I just want to say, Ollie Watkins, man, this guy, his statistics is remarkable. The first player in Europe's leagues to get 15 goals and 10 assists. Combined league total, guys, of 32, which is 19 goals, 13 assists. We haven't seen that since the days of Thierry Henry. We haven't seen a player who scores and creates as much as he does on both sides of the ball. It's ridiculous. When you consider, guys, that he's had a hand, and I think he's only the 9th British player not British. He's only the 9th player in the Premier League to have 30 or more involvements throughout a whole season in terms of goals and assists. And since Emery has come in, by the way, it's Unai Emery that's done all of this. He's scored more non-penalty goals. I think, what is it? It's 49 goal contributions in 61 appearances. That's on a Thierry Henry level. It's not as high because obviously Henry he smashed the record, didn't he? He had 37 goals and 20 assists one season, and so that was 57. But my point is that he's given you that balance. He is 28 years old though, guys. So he's not sprung chicken. He's in his prime, and he had all them seasons before, didn't he, where he was injured and he just couldn't stay fit. And for some reason, they got that sorted out. He's healthy, he's clicking, but he's just a ridiculous player, guys. Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer is in there because of Saka and Saleh. Now, a lot of people have been saying, is it Saka? Is it Saleh? Is it Saleh? Is it Saka? But when I see what this guy's done, and yes, he's young player of the season, Cole Palmer, Tony just said to me he didn't know that he had a black father and that he's mixed raced.
Yeah, he's mixed race. His grandfather is from St. Kitts.
Yeah,
he looks like us. His grandfather looks like us.
Yeah, he looks like us, but no, he does. And he looks nothing like you would never guess that he was.
You'd never guess.
Yeah. You look at him straight off. You saw him on the street, you think that's another white guy, but he's not.
So 22 goals, 11 assists, giving him a total of 33 goal involvements, which is actually one ahead of Ollie Watkins and Erling Haaland. So that's why Saka didn't make my team this year, and that's why Salah didn't make my team this year, because Cole Palmer, and look, let's put it on the wall. He scored a lot of penalties. I think it was 7 or 8 penalties he scored.
No, it's more than that. He's about 9 or 10.
Yeah, he scored a lot of penalties. But just a ridiculous talent for his age.
Yeah,
and how Man City sold him.
Exactly. We're back to my previous point, right? Which is the player wants to play. The player's the one who say, I want to leave. I'm leaving. And you can't stop me because I want to play.
Going to Chelsea was the right team for him to go to. I mean, I don't want to admit this, but a friend of mine, he actually had a ticket for the Chelsea-Everton game, and he dragged me along. Watching the guy play live, seriously, he's going to be the talent from the UK, surpassing Foden in the next few seasons. That's my view. Yeah, you put him in a better team. He's going to look. He'll make everybody look bad.
I think what he does really well is ability to get by people, right?
Yeah.
The ability to just smoothly cruise by you if you're not there.
And what it is, what he allows as well is that because he's that good, the opposing team's always going to put 1 or 2 players on him, which allows the other forwards to do their thing. Yeah, he attracts those defenders. Yeah, he's good. The guy's brilliant.
So you've just seen me add in my sub as well, my 12th man for my team, and yes, it's Saka. It's Bukayo Saka, and the reason why is because this has to be mentioned. Saka actually hasn't been on his best form this season, in terms of his ability to dominate games, but he's had 20 goal involvements, guys. He's actually had 34, 20 goals, 14 assists. Third in the league in chances created behind Martin Odegaard and Ward-Prowse as well from West Ham. And I think I sent a data sheet to all of you guys about 2 weeks ago showing you performance metrics. That means goals, assists, tackles, interceptions, everything else. Saka leads that table. He's number 1. And so it cannot go without saying that his all-round play and contribution is what makes Saka a player. And I listened to some of the things that Bertram says about him, and he doesn't dominate players. And I listened to all the comparisons with Foden. Well, when we put Foden's stats up against his defensively, Saka makes double that amount of tackles, triple that amount of recoveries, and Jules won than Foden. So Saka's just a better defensive player than Foden is. Hold on. And when you're on a team like Arsenal, and you see talented players like Pepe who don't make it, the reason why they don't is because when you see guys putting in a shift, a defensive shift, like Saka and like Havertz, those are two offensive players who give you huge, massive amounts of defensive stability to your game. And that's why Arsenal are the best defense in the Premier League. So that's the reason why Saka makes my team, is because he is the complete player. And all the metrics and statistics show that, regardless of what anybody's opinion is, including mine, because I think he could have done more to dominate games. And I think he needs a rest as well. I think he just plays too much. I think he's overplayed. And that's part of Arteta's job, to get him a player that can share some time with him and relieve him of some of his game time. Funny enough, before I go to you guys, Emerson has gone for Foden, Isak, and Palmer. That's a good call right there. That's a good call.
I was going to say the same thing. I was going to say Foden, Isak, and Palmer. But then you've also got to look at players like Dominic Solanke as well.
So who would be your three, and then add in your fourth?
My three would be Foden, Isak, and Palmer.
And your extra would be
my sub would be Solanke.
Yeah, good call.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of players.
You would take Solanke over Ollie Watkins. What's going on, bro?
Because look, at the end of the day, right? I'm not just looking at the play. I'm looking at the team they play for.
Yeah.
Right. I'm looking at the team they play for. Right. Hence why I mentioned what's his name from Luton. Right. At the end of the day, you've got to look at how much the player has an impact for the team they play for. We spend so much time looking at the top teams and missing the great players that are playing for lesser teams.
Yeah, Solanke is ridiculous, man.
So
he's ridiculous.
I'd
buy him, you know. I'd take him.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
this season,
I'd take him.
Right? When we had him, right, he was crap. He weren't all that, right? This season, he's actually made us eat our words. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been better than the players that we've got.
Yeah.
What he's doing. And that's how I look at a player. I don't look at yes. The easiest thing to do is look at the stats and what they've actually done, right? But you've also got to look at the team that they're playing for, right?
Yeah.
Bournemouth is never going to be one of those top teams. But when you've got a player like Solanke putting in the shift, scoring the goals, and doing all that, how could you overlook him?
Yeah. And his aerial ability is sick as well.
That's what I'm saying.
He's so powerful in the air.
You can't overlook players like that, just because they're not playing for a top team.
I agree. He's a complete forward, man. He's just getting going. If he stays at Bournemouth this summer, I would be surprised. I really would.
Exactly.
I really would. Bertram, you're up.
So, as I said before, we're going to be very careful when we're comparing stats from Man City against any other team. Exactly. But the same thing you mentioned about Saka and his recoverability in the defense, Foden is just like Rodri. Everybody in Man City play defense. Everybody. But you know what? You don't keep the ball too long, because they always have the ball.
Exactly.
So it's hard to compare their stats with anybody's stats.
Exactly.
Secondly, the front three you have, the front three I have. Guys, you got to understand this. Watkins has 32 Premier League game goal contribution.
Yeah, exactly.
Only Haaland has a similar number.
Yeah.
And Haaland gets to score goals for fun because he's always getting the ball in the box to put in the net. And Watkins has to play with people around him who are not just as good.
Yeah.
So he's like us, what, 21-2?
Yeah.
Watkins is 19-15, or 19-13, whatever the numbers are. They're ridiculous numbers. Who has as much assists as goals as a center forward? Because forwards always looking to score. They don't want to pass the ball to anybody. Salah wouldn't have those numbers because Salah doesn't pass. They're starting to do a better job. His money left. His money left passing more, but he wasn't passing the money.
Salah and Nunez, they miss more than they actually score.
Yes, Nunez is off the chart missing.
Yeah.
By the way, one of my favorite players, especially play against us, but I think he has unlimited potential. Yeah. But he has to learn how to score in front of goal. But I think he's a brilliant footballer.
Yeah.
But anyway,
his stats are, considering the way he plays, his stats are pretty good for what he's actually done.
They just need to widen the goal a little bit because he hit the post and the upright.
He missed a lot of chances, man. He missed a lot of chances.
Listen. Right, him and the posts were best friends this season.
Yes, they were.
They were best friends this season, boy.
I think Palmer was good. I think he has about 10 penalties. 9 or 10 penalties, but
Yeah.
the kid can play football, right? The kid is
course.
very, very good. The kid is
Yeah.
when he played against us in the Community Shield, which I've seen that when we played City way back when. So from then you can see him frustrated with Pep, and he doesn't have Foden's patience because Pep was always lauding Foden but never played him.
Yeah, that when it comes to winners, yeah, the only team that won when Palmer was available was Chelsea. Yeah, they've got a gem. They've got a gem. And put it this way, if he didn't play, if he didn't go to Chelsea, where would they be now? They wouldn't be.
Yeah, no, he's had a brilliant season. He's a brilliant season. He's going to be probably starting for England. The question is, who starts for England? That's the question.
True.
You have to.
You play Foden in the 10 because Southgate like to play defensively. So do you play Foden in the 10 and Saka and Palmer wide? And Saka and Palmer play on the same side, by the way. So somebody has to go sacrifice where they play.
Southgate's actually surprised me because he hasn't gone for his favourites because there's a couple of players that didn't get even get into the team, which I was laughing about.
Henry, no, he's going for a couple of favourites. Wire and Shaw. Shaw should not be.
Shaw should not be in the team. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
All right, guys. Let's go for our manager. My manager is going to be Unai Emery. And I don't really have to say much about Unai Emery because when I look at some people might say Pep Guardiola's won 4 in a row. And we all had the conversation about the charges and everything, and he's taken over the best teams and he's lightning in a bottle. He's getting it done. But I think for me, winning the league with the best team and the most expensive squad in world football versus finishing top 4 with a bang average squad, I'm going to go with Emery all day long on this one because nobody, not a single person would have told you that Villa would have made top 4. And not only did they make top 4, but they did it convincingly.
Exactly. I got to correct you. They haven't got the most expensive squad. It's Chelsea.
Oh, now, yeah, no. I'm talking about built squad, because City haven't spent money in the last 3 years. No, they spent it all 7-8 years ago.
They don't need to.
Yeah, they don't need to because they spent it all 7-8 years ago.
Exactly.
I remember when I had the podcast with Drew, and we beat City 2-1 in the FA Cup semi-final. I think it was Santi Cazorla scored the penalty which put Arsenal through to the final against Man City. That was, I think, Pep's first or second year. Pep then went out that summer and spent 400 million on defenders. Yep. It's like no team in the world could do that. And people forget about that. They look at City now and say, oh, City are making money in the transfer market. But that's because they spent 1.3 billion, all them years ago, 7 years ago when he first came into the team. And the guys won 6 titles in the last 7 years. They just spent their way to the title. And so for me, guys, I think what Unai Emery achieved, getting that team into the top 4 was absolutely phenomenal. By the way, he's probably going to be my manager of the season as well. Who would you pick as your manager for your first 11, Neil?
I got to go with you, Emery. Emery, as I said, he's done wonders with Villa. Yeah, and he's actually proved, especially to you Arsenal fans, that he is a good manager. He's not that bad. He's not that bad. And yeah, you got to look at some of the games that Villa have played, and you got to look at the results that they've got throughout the season.
Only team that did the double over Arsenal this season.
That's what I'm saying. That you're right. I wouldn't say they were. I wouldn't say they were bang average. I think they were above bang average, but. Yeah, you wouldn't expect that team. There's so many other teams that you expect to get that 4th spot over them. You look at Spurs, you look at Chelsea, you look at United. Those are 3 teams, even Newcastle as well. At the beginning of the season, right, nobody would have said Villa was going to be that 4th team. Yeah, and just on that premises alone, with what Emery's done, you have to go for him. You can't ignore him. You can't look at the top managers. Yeah, because he's actually proved that he is a top manager. Yeah, and that goes with what I was saying about Pep. Would Pep have been able to do that with that team?
Bertram, have I got rid of it? No, I've still got it there. Bertram, you're up. Who was your manager of the year?
So there's some good selections, right? I mean, Areola from Bournemouth to me stood out quite a bit, given where they started the season, almost at the bottom of the table, and the progress they've made. I think was it Glasner from Crystal Palace came in late. And as they won 4 of the last 5, they're playing brilliant football. I think Pep deserved credit, something you take people for granted because they keep on winning. I think Arteta did a really good job, especially second half of the season, to be there with City. But I think Emery has proven that there's life after Arsenal, how he was treated, and that he's continually won in Europe. That's how he got the PSG job. He's taken, unlike Pep, he's taken teams that don't have names and the best players and molded them. And that's what he does. The question is, can he get over the top, right? So he has done that at Villarreal. He's done that at Sevilla. He's done it at different teams where he's taken a bunch of, I won't call them scrubs, but a bunch of players who don't have the best reputation and pedigree and molded them and have had success. He's won trophies. And he's gotten Villa, who should have been relegated 2 years ago, apart from the system not working for the penalty on the goal line when they should have lost to Sheffield, and they should have been relegated and then relegated.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, 2-3 years ago they should have been relegated and
comedy.
And it didn't work, and now they're in the Champions League, which is amazing for Villa fans. And amazing for Villa itself.
That's the attributes you're saying. There is the attributes of a great manager, not a good manager, a great manager to take what you've got and do something wonderful with them. Yeah.
Not only that, Neil, but Gerrard, who was the manager, had them at the bottom of the table, like in third
exactly.
or fourth.
That's what I'm saying. You got to look. That's what a great manager does. Not a good manager, but a great manager.
And guys, look, they've got American owners, and they can either do a few things here. They can. We saw what happened to Newcastle. And Eddie Howe, they didn't give him a squad. He said, give me a squad. And we know Newcastle, richest owners in the world, they were capped anyway, which was one of the rules for them taking over the team, right? So Villa has a choice now. Do you want to go the way of Newcastle, where you completely lose ground to either Chelsea, Man United, or anyone else who's going to outspend you? Because you're going to be in the Champions League now, so you're going twice a week. And that's the reason why they dropped off. You know, they got blasted by Spurs and they had some awful results. But that was because, quite frankly, they outside of Moussa Diaby, a few other players, they just didn't have a squad. So I expect their owners to really back Emery. And if they don't, it would be a shame because I would hate to see them fall by the wayside. But if they do fall apart, I would take Douglas Luiz in a heartbeat. Thank you very much.
Right. I don't think. Once again, I don't think it's about the owners and their decision to spend or not to spend. You only can spend what you make, given FFP,
exactly.
And you can only exceed the number by a certain amount over a 3-year period, right? So, and Newcastle can't just spend because it wants to spend. That's why they're struggling. But they went on and buy certain players, and now it's catching up to them. Right? They don't have the academy players to sell and get 100% profit on the books. That becomes difficult. And Villa has very rich American owners, but they can't go and spend their own money because they're not allowed to.
No.
They gotta be. So what would happen is, which I'm surprised Newcastle don't have more of this, because what City did was they sponsored themselves and pretend as if somebody was sponsoring them, independent sponsorship. That's why they have 100-something charges.
Was that the airline thing or?
Yeah, it's more than one thing. It's more than one thing. You sponsor yourself. So I say Apollo's Industry sponsoring me, but it's really me control Apollo's Industry.
Yeah, exactly.
So I give myself money. Newcastle can't do that because they've learned from City's situation. They say we'll do the same thing. You sponsor yourself, you spend a lot of money, you invest in yourself, and now City don't have to spend a lot of money because they buy players who they can sell back for profit, and their net spend is going to be much lower, which is something that Villa and Newcastle won't have for a while until they get at the level where the Arsenal and the City have, which is I build up my squad, I can sell players for profit with the academy otherwise. I can then reinvest that money in my team. They're going to be challenged, Apollo, to spend money big because FFP won't allow them to.
So, guys, we're going to do some quick hits. So we're near the end of the show now. We're just going to do some quick hits here. So, player of the season. Who's your player of the season? My one is Declan Rice. Took Arsenal to another level. I had to ask myself the question, did Phil Foden take City to another level? And I think
he did. I think he did.
I think he shone in a team with great players. But when I see Rodri out and I don't see Foden doing anything, then I have to draw the line there. That's what did it for me, is that, you know, for me, he held up pretty well, but he didn't take them over the line for me. I didn't think he was that player. Whereas when I look at Declan Rice and what he's done to Arsenal, I think he is definitely, for me, the player of the season. Neil, you've gone with Foden?
No, I'm not going with Foden. I'm going with Cole
Oh,
Palmer.
who have you gone with?
I'm going with Cole Palmer.
Oh, okay.
The
Wow,
difference
good
he
call.
made for Chelsea. Put this way, if it wasn't for him, Chelsea would not be where they are now. Considering, yes, we know they spent over $1 billion on players.
Yeah.
Those players clearly didn't work out this season. He's the only player to me that has worked out, and he's actually brought them up. He brought that team up. Literally, he brought that team up on his back.
Yeah.
He's got a serious amount of talent. Yeah.
He's so good on the ball, man. He's so good on the ball.
I'm saying the guy is good. As I said, give him a couple of seasons, he will be the player everyone's talking about. Yeah, that everybody wants in their team. Yeah, right. He's young, and that's the only thing that goes against him right now. He's inexperienced, but when that experience kicks in, he's going to be something else, man. But for me, it's purely because of what he's done for Chelsea and how he's brought them up. It's very easy to pick a player in a team that's at the top and has won the league. Yeah. Right. But when you're looking at a team that was floundering like Chelsea, what were they? They were like 11th, 12th.
Yeah.
Halfway through the season, and look 12th. Where they are now. Yeah.
12th. Yep. And they've sacked their manager, so that's ridiculous in itself. Bertram, who's your player of the season?
So I don't have Rice as the player of the season for Arsenal. I have Saliba, who last year when he got hurt, we collapsed, which says a lot actually. Yeah. So I had Saliba for Arsenal, but the player of the season to me was between 4 players: Palmer, Foden, Rodri, and Ollie Watkins, actually. And I chose Ollie Watkins. I think it's ridiculous for you to play for a fourth place team, and you have 32 goal contributions in 38 games. Yeah. That's ridiculous.
Which is more than Erling Haaland, the best striker in the league, the best striker in football.
That's ridiculous for a fourth-place team where you had injuries to about Buendia, Kamara, Ramsey, a bunch of other players who were out of the team who were regulars, and you don't necessarily have anybody who just laying the ball onto you from the midfield. Bailey does a good job, Diaby sometimes. I think his stats are off the chart. I don't understand why he doesn't get more accolades. If you're forward having 15, 16 assists, people, and 19 goals in the Premier League, don't talk about Europe or any other. I just think it's easy for me to pick Ollie Watkins. Foden's playing in the team where everybody scores. Who names Haaland? Who names De Bruyne? Who names Rodri? Who names those players? A lot of them score, right? Except for the left wing with Grealish.
Yeah, Bertrand, you know why that is, isn't it? You know why that is, don't you?
No, I know. But I'm just saying.
You know why?
Easily. No, Saka's stats are better than Foden. Saka's stats are good as Foden and better than Palmer's, actually. Because you got to think about non-penalty goals, right? You got to think about that. Palmer's about 10, Saka's about 6. So their stats, nobody mentioned Saka. Saka didn't dominate like Palmer does in some games, but Saka also finished second in his team. So when I review all the variables, Ollie Watkins to me was easy.
Yeah, but you, as I said, you have to look at the one thing that the players that should have been picked have not been picked. You have to look at that one thing, yeah?
No mention Ollie. I looked a lot. I read all the papers. No one mentioned Ollie Watkins. All I see is Foden for most time, and I'm like, why Ollie Watkins not in the conversation?
We know why, don't we? We know why, don't we?
Yeah, and Neil, on that note, on that note, game of the season, guys. I've got Man City 4, Chelsea 4.
Game of the season.
And game of the season. And I remember this game was this was after Chelsea had that fiasco at Tottenham when they beat them 4-1, and it was overshadowed by the VAR interventions which reduced Spurs to like 9 men, and Chelsea just embarrassed them. It could have been 9-1 in that game. And then this game was just brilliant. It was a last-minute penalty from Cole Palmer to take the points away from Man City. But Cole Palmer I think that was his best game against his former team. Just an incredible game. When I was watching the game, I was all over the place, man. I've never seen a game like that. That was, for me, the easiest, best game of the season. Neil, what was your best game of the season?
Hold on a sec. What happened there? Oh, my thing's messing up. Whoa.
We can hear you and see you, Neil.
You can hear me, but okay, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
There was lots of good games. What was it? Was it the Luton Forest game?
Luton Arsenal. When
No,
Arsenal won it in the last minute 4-3.
Yeah, sorry, that was the game. That was the game, the 4-3.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me,
We
that
got
was
away
the game
with
because,
murder, man. You lot got away with murder there as well. They should have beaten you.
Yeah, I know. I was just trying to let that one slide. Yeah, I was trying to let that one slide.
Not the Forest game.
No,
Luton.
Luton.
You get the ball in Nottingham Forest game when it hit the referee or something. But
Yeah.
Man City was 1-0 down. They had Sambi Lokonga dominating Rodri, dominating them. And then
that's what I'm saying.
Lokonga goes off injured, and then City end up winning 2-1.
That's what I'm saying. You got. As I said, right. For me, I didn't believe that they were going to stay up, but Luton is the one team that surprised me more than any other team this season. Because even though I believed in my heart they were going straight back down, the way they played, the results they got against the top teams, they didn't win all of them. But the way they played, the way they were tough to beat, yeah. Come on, man. You pick any of those games. Pick any of those games, man.
And that's the game Emerson. That's the game Emerson went for. Luton Arsenal. Yeah. Cam's asked me, "What am I drinking?" This is Grace Jamaican coconut water, my friend. Coconut water. Check it out, man. Really good drink. Very refreshing. I got about 10 boxes of them in my shed. Right, where was I? Bertram, what was your game of the season?
It's Chelsea, Man City. First of all, Chelsea weren't doing that well. Man City is always dominating. That game went back and forth for the 8 goals. You thought it was over at one leg, and then somebody scored. You thought it was over again and scored. We expect to beat Luton. Even though we're down to Luton, we expect to beat Luton, no matter what happens. In that game, you got to a point where you're like, either team could win it. So I love the Chelsea Man City game. Actually, I thought it was a special game. Right,
got 2 more for you guys. Who was your overachievers? I think we're all in it. Well, we might not be all in agreement with this. Actually,
no,
I've gone for Aston Villa as the overachievers for this season. Who have you gone for, Neil?
Can't argue with that. Yeah, Villa. As I said, from where they were to where they ended up this season, nobody expected them. Nobody would have put unless you're a Villa fan, nobody would have put money on them being in the top 6, let alone the top 4 this season.
Yeah, true. I agree. Not even in the top 6, bro.
Not even in the top 6.
Yeah.
Because you still got to look at Chelsea with the money they spent. You expected them to be up there. Man United, right? Even as bad as they play, they still get there somehow as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why De Zerbi and them lot are gone. Because I said to all of you lot last year, including Unai Emery, what's happened is every single owner turned around to their team and said, "Look what Eddie Howe's done."
Yes.
Why haven't you done that? And that's it. The argument done. There's no discussion here. You show me you're a good manager and go out and do what this guy's done. Because it's not exactly, he bought Isak, they got Gameras, but guess what? Everybody's got money. Every Premier League team spending money now. So you go out there and get me into the Champions League.
I'm surprised nobody mentioned, I can't say his name now.
Bruno Gameras.
Yeah, because he was he was good this season as well.
Hothead, man. He'll probably be leaving. Bertram, overachievers. Who was yours?
So to me, it's between 3 teams, actually. It's between the late run by Crystal Palace, because I love Eze and Eze.
Oh, nobody wanted to play Palace towards the end of the season, man.
Meta scoring goals, but he never scored through his entire career, and he couldn't miss the end of the season.
Eze and Elise, man. Eze and Elise.
That team has been cooking over the last 2 months, bro. No, listen, thank God we didn't have to play them in the running. That team is cooking.
Well, we spanked them with Elise out. We spanked them, didn't we? Get about 5 with Elise out. Yeah. But they were playing really well. They could have went to a back 3, right? They changed up their formation.
Yeah. I think it's because of this, I think it's because of this.
Yeah.
That team.
They got some good players, man. They got some good players.
Yeah.
It's just a shame.
They're gonna lose this year.
Yeah. It's just a shame.
At least 3 or 4. Yeah.
Because I could see, like, if a De Zerbi went in there, I could see somebody doing a real bang up job with the talent that they've got. They got some talent, man.
No, Glasner's not going anywhere. He's gonna be there for a while. He came in and changed everything, right? He came in and changed everything. But I think it has to be Villa because they finished. Look, they could make top 6 this year. They finished what, 7th last year, right? Not that they were
Yeah.
out of it last year, but he's had the best record since he came. I think 2023. Since January, he had the best record, I think, for that year. Actually, that's something close to that. So it's not shocking that they're doing well. It's just that to make top 4 is a stretch, given how well I think Newcastle has been very disappointing this year, given how well they played last year. Man U, with all the money they spent, you thought would have improved, haven't improved. Chelsea, with all the money they spent, they did better at the end of the season, but hadn't done as well. So I'll give it to Villa as overachievers. And we also should talk about underachievers, right? When we talk about whenever we talk about positive, we talk about what's the opposite.
Bro, that was my next that was my next subject, right? My next and the last one. This is the last one, guys. Underachievers. I went for Manchester United.
There's 2 teams. 2 teams
There's
for
two
me.
teams. There's 2 teams.
2 teams for me. Yeah, there's 2 teams that were underachievers, right? Yes, Man United was definitely an underachiever. The second team that was an underachiever, yeah, Chelsea.
Really?
I think there is
the money they spent, yeah, right. You would have expected if you went out and bought.
I never expected anything from them with the money they spent.
No,
they're just a bad team. I didn't expect. It's not like they spent $1 billion and I thought, oh, this.
But what you do is when you see a team spend that sort of money, especially if City spend that sort of money, you would expect them to win anyway. Yeah, right. Chelsea, right? They do have the reputation of bringing in good players, buying good players, right? Under Abramovich, they bought the league when they were top, when they were running.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. So, but bro, they were dead food. They were just dead food.
I was laughing because when I saw some of those names that he brought in, I kind of thought, who's this? Who's this? Why have you spent all that money? But it's the pressure about the amount of money they spent. You expect them to do well somehow. Yeah. Right.
What's going on, Tony? Just shout out to my boy Tony. What's going on, Tony? I know you're busy on Friday night, so I didn't think you was going to make this podcast, but it's been a lot of fun, mate. We have missed you so much tonight,
Definitely.
Tony.
No, we haven't. We haven't missed you.
Yeah,
we haven't missed you.
You really would have enjoyed this one, Tony.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Man United, definitely, and I'm enjoying saying Man United because you know what, Liverpool and Man United. I'm enjoying they were underachievers, and for me, purely for the money that Chelsea spent, I expected them to do better than they actually did, and I'm glad they didn't either.
You know what, Bertram? I'm looking at the table, and I can't really see anyone else. Can we say
no?
Brentford?
There are 3 teams that are. There are about 3 or 4 teams. So there's Man U.
But would you put Brentford in there? They went half the season without Tony.
Man U, they don't spend enough money. Man U, Chelsea, Newcastle, Brighton.
Yeah. No, Newcastle. I agree with Newcastle. I'm not sure about Brighton.
They had some injuries, but Brighton finished 7th last year or 6th last year, somewhere there. 6th last year because they were in the Europa League, right?
Yeah.
Brighton did really well last year.
Yeah. But they overachieved last season.
They lost a couple of players. Right?
A couple. They lost.
McCarthy. They lost a couple of players. 2.
We got their best one.
Yeah. Bertram, do you know how many players Brighton lost last season?
I know McCarthy and Caicedo.
McAllister.
Bertram.
McAllister.
Bertram, they lost 26 players. And granted, a lot of those players, 19 of them were squad players and academy.
Okay.
But 7.
Yeah, you lot got what's his name, isn't it? He's grey hair. He's got grey hair.
But he came in January.
We've got Trossard. Yeah, you got Trossard. Yeah.
He came in January.
They lost 7 big time players. Yeah. That is nearly 70% of their squad, mate.
Yeah.
I just thought they still had a good team. They had Mitoma injured. They had a few players injured. That's affected them significantly. But I thought they overachieved given they were last year, right? They should have dropped maybe 2 spot, not 7, 8 spot, not 6, 7 spot.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
Newcastle overachieved big time because I know Willock has been injured. I know Joe Linton got injured. I know Wilson got injured. They had a bunch of injuries. But still, you were top 4 last season. You were bang on form. You were playing really well. You gave PSG a run in Champions League. You were in the toughest zone. And you just sort of fell away. And then we had Chelsea. When you spend $1 billion, you should do better. Sorry.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. When you spend that money, you expect to be top 4. You expect that's at least. Yeah.
I said they had a lot of injuries. They had a lot of injuries.
But they still had that's a lot of money to spend. Yeah. You'd expect.
I agree.
That's a lot of money to spend, man. Yeah.
And then
It is,
Man
it
U,
is, it is.
you have to talk about Man U. Man U has spent the most money, frankly, and have the least return for the money they spent.
But
But they spent the young players who has potential.
I get the one thing the only good thing I can say about United, right? This season, Fernandes has been good for them.
Yeah, it's been good.
Fernandes has been good for them. If he wasn't there, they would have done worse. They would have done a lot worse.
But think about who they bought: Casemiro, Hoyland, all those players. Rashford has been off.
What's the young player? What's that young player? I can't remember his name.
Maino, you talking about?
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
Kobe Maino.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for the future, he's done well this season for them.
Yeah, but the problem with him though is that he's not the most mobile of midfielders. I don't think people realize that he's not the most mobile of midfielders. And in the Premier League, you want to do really well, you gotta have legs, and you gotta be up and down the field. And you're gonna play the 8. You're not playing the 6. You gotta be mobile. He's a good player on the ball, but look what he's not on the ball.
Yeah, he's a star. He's a star player for the future.
Guys, they spent more money than Arsenal. They spent 230 million, and you know, you look at. I mean, Mason Mount was 55 million. What?
And they may get rid of Tent Peg after the game tomorrow.
No, that's the report that he's gone. Actually,
yeah, that's the report. Yeah.
They have to fire him, right? But I said this, he's been to more finals than Arteta.
I think so, yeah.
But we're not complaining because you know what? We probably have the highest valued squad in the world in terms of what we spent versus what we have. Maybe Real Madrid is up there, but our squad is very well valued. And we can see the team being good for 6-7 years. The top 3 are 14 points next. I think Liverpool is 14 points between them and Villa. The top 3 are going to be around for at least 2-3 years where they are, no matter who comes in or goes. The other clubs are going to be fighting down for the 4th and 5th spot, actually.
So, guys, listen, that is it. We've had a lot of fun this evening, and I'll just put my team up on there, which is the team of the season. A lot of that was agreed, and some little different choices in there from the panel. But we've had a lot of fun, and it's been a great season. This has actually, on record, been the most competitive Premier League season, considering how close the top 3 teams was. Never before has a Premier League been this close. We also had a competition with this panel. We had the Friday Night Premier League show running a prediction from the beginning of the season. Bertram's going to have to join us next season. And it turned out all on the last week that I ended up winning it by 2 points. So I beat Webby by 2 points.
That's a fix.
And by the way, Neil knows it's not a fix because I have to send my predictions to them before the game starts. So they know it's not fixed. But it was a lot of fun, guys, and a lot of very disappointing, very surprising with some of the results. But I had a lot of fun, and I'm definitely going to do it again next season. But overall, look, I couldn't be more proud of my team. We've broken records. It's that incremental increase for Arsenal, and I cannot wait to see what Arsenal do this summer and the players that they bring in, and also the players that they sell as well. And I cannot wait, and I'll be covering it all for you on this channel. Neil, thanks for participating tonight, and you, Bertram. Any final comments from you, Neil?
Do you know what? I'm looking forward to next season. I just want to see what Slot does or does not do to the current squad. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. We've got a couple of players that may leave because of their age. Also, the rumors have it. But we'll see. We'll see whether he does what Klopp does. It took Klopp a couple of seasons before we will actually get in there. He's got a good squad to start off with, which Klopp did not have. So hopefully, we can keep running. A tweak here and there, and then that's it.
Excellent.
Yeah,
and you, Bertram,
we're not fearing Liverpool. I hate to tell Neil that, but we're not fearing. We have a new signing this year already in Timber. Last year he just came and visited. He didn't stay around. He's going to be back next year in full. Hopefully he stays around next year. So it's a great signing too. We didn't have him for the whole season. He made a cameo at the end of the season. I think we're in if you're an Arsenal fan, you should be in a really good place. I'm not worried about who we sign. because we already have a team that's going to compete. It's all around the edges now versus, you know what, I need to come in with 6. We need backup for Saka. We need center forward. Yeah, we need all this, but you know what? We still have good players in the team.
Yeah,
we have assets, not liabilities. So we have players we can sell to make money, not players we have to give away like we've been doing for the last 3 years. So, need something. I'm starting my channel in a week and a half. Please subscribe. It's going to call Cranky Live. Should be a lot of fun. I have a lot to say.
There's rumors has it that Arteta's leaving and Potter's coming in to replace him.
You know, I did say because
we don't have any pots. We have pan. We don't have any pots. We have pans.
Because remember, Pep's last season is next season, his contract, and Arteta's last season is contracted as well. But like I said, I know that they're already preparing Arteta to sign an extension. But yeah, a lot of Man City fans thinking when Pep walks out at the end of next season, Arteta's going to walk straight in for free. On a free contract.
Guys, think about this way. Guys, think about this way. If you're Arteta, you've been backed by the owners when you weren't doing well. Yeah. You have the ultimate autonomy and authority in a club, and you're one of the youngest managers in the league. What better place? The fans support you, the owners support you, they back you, the players love you. You have no. If you leave, you're stupid.
Yeah, seriously. I agree, 100%.
Even if Barca call you where you've been before and it's Spain, you're stupid.
Yeah,
because Barca has no money to spend, so yeah, it would make sense.
Yeah. Excellent. All right then, guys, that's it from us. Enjoy your weekends, bank holiday weekend here, and hope you do something great this weekend. Forget about football, enjoy life, eat well, sleep well, and love your family, man. Peace out, everybody.
Do that, definitely. Have a good one, Jed.